Hi, this is Kay with Rocket to Success, and we're here today with Marilyn. And thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
And we have a few questions for you. So we'll start with, how do you use your writing to influence?
Well, I had a friend that told me that she came to the Lord by reading a novel. And I thought, that's really great, because people don't want to be preached to. But you can learn a lot of spiritual truth in everyday life just by living, and which of course I have. And so I want my characters to learn a truth as well. Maybe a character should grow, and sometimes a character can grow spiritually, and that's my goal, is to, what is this character learning a truth that changes their lives.
Okay, great. So, as a woman writer, what challenges have you faced, and what advice would you have for other women starting that path?
Well, I think the biggest problem is that if you have a family, trying to juggle with the family, and even though I'm married to my second husband and we're both retired, he still likes some attention. So I have to try to set my hours and try to control my hours so that I'm balanced, that I set aside time to do things with him, because I could just sit and write alone, And then about 4 years ago, we took my grandson in, and we are been parenting him for the last 4 years, and that's really changed our lives, because now we have to adjust our schedule around his schedule, school, etc. So, he has to be fed. When you don't have kids in the house, you can kind of eat whenever you want to. But we need to have a consistency for him, which means consistency for us in a schedule. So then I have to be a little more disciplined. I hate that word. Disciplined about my time. So when he's not at home, that's when I need to write. And when he is at home, that's when I need to focus on family.
That was another question I was going to ask. You already answered it. How do you manage your time? So you've talked about that. You want to share a little bit more?
Managing my time?
Yeah.
It's so hard. Several years ago, I felt the need. I was trying to do a morning devotional, and it seemed like my morning started before I got to do the devotional. And I'm really not an early person, but I had read that sometimes you need to get up an hour earlier. And so that's what I started doing, because I needed to get up before everybody else did. It takes me a while before I can talk to a person anyway when I wake up in the morning. So, I get up an hour before my husband does, and before my grandson gets up, so that I can have quiet time with God, and he's the only person that I have to talk to. Sometimes I have to talk to the cat, but, that's very limited. So, to have quiet time with God, I had to get up earlier so that he had that time. So I meet him in the kitchen, get my coffee, I sit down with him, and just let my mind, I read a devotional every morning, and I keep a journal so that I can get that done. Because if I don't do that first thing, my day gets crazy. It just doesn't work right. So I have to do that, and that sets the tone. And I try to get into my office, like work a 9-to-5 job. Kind of get into my office by 9, start working, and take the regular, occasionally get up and move,
right,
which is healthy. Yeah. And my husband will say, "I'm eating lunch now." Oh, lunch? Okay, so then I'll stop.
Yep. Let's see. The last question is, what does career risk taking mean to you, and share an example of that when you've taken a risk in your career.
A risk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think whenever I pitch something to an editor or publisher, I risk rejection. Whenever you write something, and especially if you turn it into a contest, then you have to be ready for whatever they have to say. And that's one of the hardest things, I think, is when you, particularly if you're one of the types like me who needs a lot of affirmation, um, rejection is really hard. And criticism. And I had to learn that criticism, constructive criticism, makes my writing better. And of course, I don't ask people that aren't in the business to critique my writing, but I have critique partners and I have editors who will tell me, this needs to be done a different way, and I have to be open to learning continually how to get better at what I'm doing. So it is a risk because it's like you put yourself out there and let people just shoot darts at you or something. It's like, I'm the target, and it's kind of hard. Somebody told me when I first started that you have to develop a bulldog tenacity and an alligator hide. Actually, that was Lorraine Snelling. As she mentored me when I first started. And that's so true. That's so true. You can't take things personally, really. You have to separate. Of course, as a writer, you put your soul into your book, but you have to kind of separate that as more of your business. So it's not all about you. Your writing, your book is really not you, even though you put a lot of yourself in it.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming today and sharing your story, and we appreciate it. If you want to hear more from Marilyn, you can go to our Facebook page at Rocket to Success and catch Marilyn there. Thank you.
Thank you.